Hi, this is Nathan, and welcome to the WadFam Chalk Pod.
Hi, this is Andrew Sabo. You know, I can't think of anything I'd rather do than hang around with you for a time of humor and analysis. Then again, reusing other people's jokes is funny to me. Anyway, welcome to the WadFam Chalk Pod.
And there is an iCarly episode where their web show gets acquired by a studio, and it's basically the same plot here.
Oh my gosh, I remember that! Holy crap, yeah!
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just
You're
like
in iCarly?
judge me all you want, but it's like we brought in another
Yeah,
co-host,
yeah.
and we
Yep. Yeah.
and there's now a studio band, and then we start changing
Yep.
things, and now.
And then it just goes back to the...
Yeah, and now we, at the end of the
No
episode,
plot
we go back to, well, there's no plot moving in the whole show.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the WadFam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan,
I'm Andrew.
and we're here to talk about Adventures in Odyssey. This week we're discussing episode 460, Nova Rising,
Yes, sir.
the penultimate episode on the Big Picture album.
Yeah, it's... I like it. It is the final episode.
No, it's the second to last. Penultimate,
penultimate,
means
sorry.
the one before the last.
The one before the
Not-
last.
'cause-
I'm proud of us. Good job.
I'm just going to continue knowing stuff, and you can,
Yeah.
you do you.
I'm continuing not knowing stuff. That's what I do best.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, it was a good episode. This is like right when I started listening to the series, so like I got a lot of memories. Like the first couple build-up episodes, like Red Herring, I hadn't listened to that many times, but this is
gotcha.
like this, and then once we get into counter moves, like I've got some of those episodes like memorized because I've listened to them so many times.
Yeah, similarly for me. I kind of think the final cassette of Big Picture was missing at the church library.
That's probably my family's fault.
Because I was like, yeah, I definitely have listened to this, but I don't know it nearly like I do the other ones in this.
Yeah.
And I also think I just don't know Big Picture that well, because there's only three Novacom episodes, so it's pretty easy to just, like, ignore this album.
Yeah, it really is. Well, and like only back like going back and listening to it, like when I kept up with Wits End on the radio, you know, on their website, like they listened to the episodes that they're airing on the radio that day.
That's what I would do too.
Yeah, like I don't even know if I'd ever heard this when I've listened through Danger Signals, Counter Moves, and Battle Lines for the first time. Yeah, definitely haven't heard that. And it's kind of it is a lot of setup. It's like I think
Is it a lot of setup though? Is it setting up anything? Like it's
maybe I'm hoping.
I don't know. I was frustrated. It is an episode where basically nothing happens.
This one?
Like, by the end of it, we're right back where we were. There's maybe one portion of this episode that we learn something.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it is so much just a retread of last episode, where it's like Cal and Alex accidentally their way into a situation with Aram again, and it's like,
and with Novacom,
we already did this, and it's like I can see kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because the thing this episode does do is tie last episode into the Novacom saga. Because last episode doesn't have any Novacom mention.
Yeah.
Whereas this episode is very Novacom-centric and pulls stuff from last episode. So it's...
But the thing is that the character arc that it establishes, because it's all about Tom Riley. Or not Tom Riley, Bernard Walton.
Yep.
And like it, focuses around him, but he's not an important character in the series.
No. He shows up again in... Well, so the next episode after this, which we will not be covering, is a BTV episode.
Yeah.
Because they do those... They do them from time to time.
Yeah, there was a time where it was a lot more common.
So then he's obviously in that, and then he checks out for the rest of the Novacom saga.
Yep.
Like, we basically get none of him. So it's...
Which is such a shame. He's such a good character, an enjoyable character.
He is. We get a lot of him, though, in other stuff. So I don't feel like he's such a big player in the Blackguard stuff.
Yeah.
That it kind of, it kind of seems okay for them to kind of overlook him in this. But...
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was... Well, they reference Edwin Blackard in this episode, which is a bit of a throwback. Which I completely forgot that Edwin was Regis's brother for a split second. So in my notes, I said he sold his equipment to Edwin Blackard. Like, I thought that guy was dead.
Yeah. Edwin, not Regis. But yeah. Because no, I reacted similarly. I heard Blackard, and I was like, you sold your cleaning supplies to Blackard? And I was like, oh, right, there's two. Yeah. That's the whole point of there being two is for us to be like, what?
Yeah. Triggered.
All right. Before we get really into this, I do want to play because I found out that the AIO Wiki, shouts out, has the episode promos.
Okay.
In full that they ran as like radio ads. Yeah. And so I just want to play the one for this episode, and then we'll talk about it.
On the next Adventures in Odyssey, things are rapidly changing. The schools have new computers, and Bernard has turned in his squeegee for a new job. That's right. BTV has been sold to Novacom, and Bernard will be the show's producer. Or that's what he thinks. But who is Novacom, and what's in their secret files? You'll be closer to the truth on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
You'll be closer to the truth.
I mean, I feel like I just listened to the whole episode. It's like, literally anybody that is not 8 can piece together all of what happened.
Yeah, it is.
Also, was BTV for sale? Like, Novacom bought it. Like, you could have just said no. Like, did they just come up and be like, hey, we want to buy you. Now you have our money.
What were they?
Yeah, it's so ominous. The background music is so ominous.
Like, they're really setting up this Novacom stuff, but like they're not doing it particularly subtly. They're just kind of giving you like, there's a new villain in town. Yeah, Novacom. Like, oh man, and also the idea that like they hit all those things and they're like, you'll be a step closer to the truth, and it's like, actually no.
No, not really.
There's nope.
Not in this one, at least. Yeah, there was like no new information about Novacom other than the fact that like
they're giving people computers.
Yeah,
which was said in that promo.
Yep,
and Radio Wave.
Yeah, I mean, they do talk about that a little bit.
They also talk about the fact that they don't like Christian media.
Kind of.
Is that the thing we're supposed to hate them for right now?
Well, and it's like, because they don't want it to be... Okay, so their beef with BTV was that it was too exclusive, right?
Right.
So they buy out... if you haven't heard the episode, Novacom buys out BTV, which stands for Bible Television. It's run by Bernard Waltman.
Actually, does it stand for Bible Television?
That's what I thought, yeah.
I thought the B was just for Bernard.
Are you sure?
You're probably right. You're probably right. I never thought about this.
Yeah.
I just figured it was a Bernard thing. Okay.
Yeah, and
Bible Television.
And so, like, that's like a local channel, like small, low production value, whatever.
One camera and a studio the size of a porta potty is what he says.
It's been described, and I can't imagine it's much more than that.
I mean, probably not, but you also, like, I assume Whit contributes quite a bit of his production to it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way Bernard's doing it all by himself.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Eugene probably does a lot of, like, editing and, like, whatever, but...
General nerdery.
That's his literal character arc. And so they buy it out, and so Bernard goes to work under Novacom. He's a producer.
That's actually interesting. Is he a producer or a writer? The promo says producer. In the episode, he says writer a couple of times.
Yeah, well, no, because Whit talks to him about the writers and stuff, and he says he gets final say on script.
Right, but then when basically because I wrote down producer in my notes early in the episode, and then Whit came in and was talking to him in his office when he's sharpening pencils, and he says writer there, and I was like, oh, did they hire you as writer or producer? And then he makes mention of different producers, and I'm like, I think he just does.
But he wasn't on the panel of writers,
right?
So he was some kind of middleman between the two, like some kind of just.
I think maybe like Well, I was gonna say showrunner, but has no control.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think he's some sort of like maybe writing supervisor is probably his technical like higher up in that regard.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Which also those writers voice acting. Oh my gosh. Who is the man that had smoked like 3 packs a day? I was like, there's a lot of comedy in food.
He sounded like, my notes just say that he sounds like a cartoon pig.
Yeah.
Like, he sounds
so
like
right.
a Looney Tunes character, and I don't
Sounds like
get
he
it.
should be like I don't know, like smoking a cigar and trying to shoot at Bugs Bunny or something.
Yeah, very much. And that was, of course, it was Bob Luttrell who voiced him.
Yeah.
Because Bob Luttrell voices like 3 characters in this.
Yeah. Oh. Well, and then because there's the whole bit when they sit down and they're talking about food, and they're talking about like the programming. This is when Bernard gets taken in like his first actual work, like in regards to BTV under Novacom. And they talk about switching up all the topics and stuff. And then they talk about all the comedy and food. And the girl says, if you put a bowl of yogurt in front of me, I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Who are these? Like, I can understand the okay. 2 things. 1, I get that Novacom wouldn't want Bernard because he doesn't have a great sense about this stuff. Why buy BTV? Why not just start something new?
Yeah.
Because that's what they end up doing by the end of the episode anyways. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Is they just, Bernard goes back, they rebrand it as something else.
Yep.
So, completely unnecessary. But then, who are these other writers that Novacom has hired, and does Novacom think these guys are good? Because they're played for laughs for us to be like, oh, these writers are so crazy.
Yeah.
But, like, Novacom has pretty high standards. Seemingly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and, like, the idea of making programming about, eating healthy and stuff like that is okay. Like, I understand,
I don't know.
how you can look at that and be like, that's probably a thing that might do well.
If this wasn't so concurrent with VeggieTales, I would think this was VeggieTales commentary.
Yeah.
The idea of, like, hey, we've got this thing that's Christian, now we have to sell it, and the people buying it are just turning it into stories with morals.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was like, oh, did this episode of Adventures in Odyssey predict VeggieTales?
It must have been. Yeah, well, there's just so much in this, like, episode that,
Yeah.
We could go back to the beginning a little bit.
I don't know, while we're on BTV stuff, one of the suggestions that they make is that Bernard is now going to be co-hosted
with Banana Manny!
Banana Manny! A kid dressed as a banana. And then, because Bernard's like, yeah, they've got more sophisticated audiences, so we're changing some things up. Banana Manny.
Yeah.
And then Wit says, is that to appeal to greater, or is that supposed to appeal to sophisticated audience? Appeal!
That must have been written in there, right? That must have been the writers being like, haha, this is funny. Yeah. And then the voice actor maybe just didn't pick up on it?
Well, I don't think Mr. Whittaker in character
Yeah.
would lean into that joke. Like, he's not a pun guy.
Yeah. No.
Really?
I don't think he would.
He's just a jerk.
This whole episode.
I was like, you thought the Tom episode was bad. Oh,
yeah.
You didn't get to the Bernard one where he's just a mess of a man.
Yeah, he's just mean. And Bernard is finally like, you're the worst. Like, why are you like this? And I don't even remember what he says to respond. I don't think he really does.
Yeah.
And they're talking about one of the writers that Bernard's working with, and he says, he wrote on a show. I think it's 2 guys, a dog, and a truck. No context, leaves it there.
Yeah. Oh, BTV also has a show called Kickboxing Kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rit's like, sounds violent.
Yep. No. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Yeah. If you put a bowl of yogurt in front of me, I'm on the floor. It was really funny. And, like, Bernard is a really good character for that.
Yeah. This is a weird episode, though, if you don't know who Bernard is.
True.
Because, like, once again, for those of you who are listening to just the Novacom series so that you can listen to this podcast, I know there's a couple of you.
Yep.
Crazy people. But this is such a, like, it introduces Bernard in such a crazy way, and then we don't get to see him again.
Yeah.
But
they use Bernard's, like, kind of jovial nature to point out, like, how Novacom is willing to kind of, not necessarily manipulate people, but just, like, yeah, I would say, like, take advantage of situations.
Yeah, although I would argue to some extent Bernard had it coming. Novacom approached him and said, hey, can we buy your local access television station?
Why do they do that? Even
Television show and do this. And he agrees, signs a contract without talking to a lawyer, quits his job, and not even just quits his job, he's self-employed, so he gets rid of his business, sells all of his equipment, goes into work for one day, decides he can't deal with it, and quits.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
It's so nuts.
It's so bad.
Don't sign a contract without a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just if you take one thing away from this podcast, just take that away. Just don't.
Don't. And yeah, I think that's. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially if that basket hates Christian media. Yeah, they get. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But like from Novacom's perspective, right? They buy this company out obviously because they want to like. So they've already got some sort of brand, like they can work in with them. Right. Like it's a pretty safe marketing decision, but they also totally don't need to.
Nor do they have any plans on sticking with it.
Well, and why wouldn't they let BTV do what BTV does alongside whatever they're doing and then just expand their market? Because like whatever market BTV has, you can take that. You've already bought the company.
Right. And why is their first meeting, hey, we're overhauling everything?
Yeah.
Like, why not slowly switch into that? Mm-hmm. Why right out of the gate are we like, all right, screw you, we're starting fresh?
Yeah, we liked what you said about forgiveness, but now pollution.
Right.
Okay, all right, different, I suppose. If you're ready to switch over to the Cal and Alex storyline?
Yeah, I think I could do that.
If we want to.
Yeah, I might have more Bernard stuff to hit later, but
yeah,
we can change gears here.
Well, so Cal and Alex, it starts off with them getting they see the Novacom website on the new computers at their school?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at their school.
Yep. They're in the library. Cal has blindfolded Alex.
Yeah.
To go show him these computers. Yeah. Alex says, I smell books. And then he knows we're at the library, and I'm like, huh. I mean, like, when you open up a book, there's a smell. But I never think about walking into a library and being like,
smells like books.
Books.
Maybe it's like a really, like, I mean, it could be like a small school, old books sort of thing, if it's in a closed space.
I think they're just trying to hammer home that he's a nerd.
Yeah, I guess. That seems a lot more likely. Oh, I love the smell of books, though. I really do.
Yeah, it's a good smell.
Nerd.
So he unblindfolds him. The computers are Promax 2000s, which is the best computer on the market.
Yeah.
The best computer on the market.
Yeah. Yep.
I understand Novacom buying new computers for the school. Yeah, whatever. The best computer on the market.
And they bought multiple, right?
They bought 5 for this school, and they put them in every school in Odyssey, which I was like,
is there more than one school? I thought it was Odyssey High School or Odyssey High or whatever.
Maybe they put them at like the elementary, middle, and high school. Maybe there are multiple.
Are there multiple elementary schools? There's a lot of elementary schools. Most school districts have like.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how many schools are in Odyssey. Oh, but yeah, they get these new computers, and then Alex is like, they turn on the computer. Al's like, Alex. I'm just combining Alex and Calix. I wrote them down as Calix in my notes. That's going to stay this whole series.
Yeah.
If I need to talk about them collectively.
And their shipping name.
What? A thing in my hair?
Yeah, you've never looked at hair.
Oh, like a cowlick.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. I'm tracking with you.
So they're in the library.
So Alex is like, can I use this computer? And it's like, no, Alex, you can't. You just gotta look at it.
Yeah, of course you could use the computer.
I don't understand him.
It's frustrating.
So they're looking at this website. They find out that they could write reviews for the kids section of the Novacom website because there's a thing that says get your ideas plugged in, and then he says, are we plugged in? And for those of you who don't know, plugged in is Focus on the Family's media reviews, where they break down and
Critique?
Sure. That's
Destroy.
Yeah, I was gonna say a word and I was like,
anything other than God's Not Dead is satanic.
Yeah, they really lay into movies, and it's called Plugged In, and I was like, it's weird to say Plugged In twice in a row, but it's also...
But it was before Plugged In was actually a thing, right?
Was it before Plugged In?
Well, Plugged In is a website. And when did that start? This is early 2000s.
This is 2000.
Yeah.
99 to 2018.
Oh boy. So this is right, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, are we getting Plugged In promo?
Yeah. So that's a little cross promo for you for I don't know what reason.
Yeah. Well, especially because it's not in a particular like constructive sense.
No,
like it's just
they use the word twice in two back-to-back sentences.
Maybe it could have been like a Freudian slip. Like maybe the writers didn't know what they were doing, and they were just like.
Well, it could be
also
totally
on
unintentional, but I feel like plugged in is not a thing. I don't know. Maybe in the 2000s we said plugged in a lot more.
Yeah. Well, and it could be like the hip lingo as far as like getting involved via the internet.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. So maybe a promo.
Which again, so they get plugged in, trademark. They get a job.
Yep, and they immediately go to Whit's End and they're like, "Hey, Whit, we got a job," and he's like,
"Where?"
And they're like, "With Novacom," and he's like,
Spidey senses.
Yeah. Yeah. But are they getting paid for this?
It's definitely, yeah. I'm like, so they have some sort of job. It's definitely during the school year because their class trip for Red Herring was...
Yep.
It was there in school.
Yep.
And it's definitely on a weekday.
Because this is the school library.
Cal and Alex.
Where the computers were.
But like when they're working, when Bernard's there, Cal and Alex are also there.
Yeah,
so unless this is some odd...
Well, Bernard's leaving.
Yeah.
So my guess is that like they went in after school from like 3 to 5. And then they're leaving the same time he is.
Okay.
It's my overanalyzation of it.
Yeah.
But
I figured, that's the only way it would be.
But they don't make any mention of them getting paid.
At all.
They do constantly refer to it as a job, which makes me think they would be getting paid. Also, if they're not getting paid, what is Novacom doing?
Yeah, they're just making them watch all their stuff.
Right. But if they are getting paid, how old are they again?
Yeah. I don't know what the rules
I
were
was
back
thinking
then.
middle school.
Well, you can be in 8th grade and have a job.
I guess.
You have to be 14.
Okay.
At least in Pennsylvania. Which again, a 14-year-old working in a professional capacity terrifies me in hindsight. And I was a 14-year-old working in a professional capacity. Washing dishes and then waiting tables. No wonder I messed up so much. My brain was barely developed.
It's still
not much better.
Yeah. But yeah, so their whole job is they watch Novacom programming and then write reviews of it, and Alex isn't allowed to watch all the programming, so Cal will watch the stuff that Al can't, and together they'll cover it all.
Yeah, which I feel like Alex has to do a lot of the heavy lifting unless they make a lot of programming that Alex can't watch. Oh well. Yeah, so there's that, and then they're working, and Aram pops up on their screen, and they're like, nope, this guy's a hacker. Which again, what the heck? I don't understand how Aram works. Like at this point...
Oh, we'll get to when it gets even more ridiculous later in the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. So they're on this computer, they click on a thing for like, oh, those are probably upcoming shows, and it's like, you gotta have a password. And then Aram's like, hey, I'm here, you want in? And they're like, no. And he's like, well, I will give you the, here's the password. And I'm like, here's the password? Like, they said no, but then you speak the password to them?
Yeah.
Which is not how you did it the last time. The last time you just got him in.
Yeah.
This time you're like, so the password is Nova Rising. Maybe there are caps. Maybe there's an
Yeah,
underscore.
yeah.
Who knows?
We'll find out.
Have fun
One
with that.
word, no, yeah.
Episode name.
Yeah, basically.
Roll credits. Ding. But yeah, Nova Rising is also a horrible password.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I understood milk and eggs being a horrible password
Because it was the 90s.
Because at least you are a secretary who made that your password, and it's bad, but
That's okay.
forgivable. This is a huge company
With some
Why is
very
your-
serious
called
stuff going
Novacom. Why is your password Nova Rising? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, and it's just like he pops up everywhere. I've given up trying to follow the technological possibilities of this because he's got to know who he's talking to at this point, and then you wonder why them.
Also, they make a point to say, why doesn't our office, I thought we were going to be working in an office. This doesn't even have doors. And Alex is like, doors are for important people. She was like, that's an interesting statement. And Aram comes up, and he is audio-based.
Yes.
You can hear in the background other people walking by and talking.
Yes.
So
Everybody.
Aram's just talking
Spewing.
out
Yeah.
in the room.
Yeah, they don't do much explaining as far as that's concerned, and also
And then
just like
he's like, it's Novacom you should be worried about, or because they're like, hey, we're not supposed to talk to you. You're bad. Police said we can't trust you, and he's like, yeah, well, you can trust me. And then he's like, it's Novacom that you should be worried about. Well, I think the Jedi are evil.
yeah.
But then Alex responds, Novacom?
You mean in their building
typed.
you didn't expect it?
Right. Not only are you surprised it's Novacom, but he said, it's Novacom you should be worried about. And Alex, in response, typed Novacom with a question mark. As if he misheard him in a conversation.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that, that sentence structure doesn't happen outside of TV and film.
Yeah, because it's
that's
really
not
expositional.
that's not a real world thing to be like, it's Novacom you should be worried about. Novacom? You and I are never going to say that. But it's extra ridiculous when you add in the level of he typed that out.
Yep. Yeah, and then sent it,
Would feel-
and then
That would be like...
it seems completely unnecessary. You already know that they're up to some shifty crap.
Right. It would be like if you texted me and said, are you coming to crossover tonight? And I responded, crossover? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it's... Oh, yeah. And then Aram pops up on Bernard's computer at the very, very end of the episode, right?
Yep. Oh, wait a second.
I skipped something.
You skipped one of the best lines of this, which is... Well, so the one thing is, Cal is like, hey, we should talk to Aram. And Alex is like, no, we shouldn't. Obviously, Aram can't hear any of that, but he's still, giving them information even though they don't ask for it.
Yeah.
And Alex just caves so quickly. But he says, but Cal says, what's he gonna do? Email us to death?
Oh, yeah.
Which is a funny line, and then you remember that Aram made a modem explode.
It could happen.
Yeah.
It could, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then also, we need to hit on the fact that they, in this secret folder, the whole thing, they see folders labeled finances and radio wave study.
Normal things.
Yeah.
Quarterly goals, radio wave study, or bank loans.
Yeah.
Technology. Dear goodness. Yeah, again, and stuff that's just you only realize it now, but as a kid I was like, well, of course. It's just other stuff there.
Yeah.
It totally could be there. They're just doing their thing.
And then somebody comes over and is like,
Hey.
we don't need your position anymore. Bye, guys. Because clearly they were just watching them snoop around.
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't want to make people talk, but get out.
Yeah.
Which,
Man's got fired. Did they
fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they totally can. And also, Cal and Alex were super dumb for doing that in public. Or not anticipating being tracked in any way.
Yep.
Your
Doing
kids.
it on a work computer in a public area.
Public IP, yeah.
Yeah. It's such a bad idea. But whatever. So they're heading out.
Shifty.
And then we find out that
Maybe
Bernard...
all this ominous music is warranted.
find out that Bernard, or Bernard... or Bernie.
Yep, Bernie, as he is frequently referred to in this episode.
Bernard is what Dent keeps. Oh yeah. So Dent's in the meeting with them.
Yeah.
About
BTV stuff.
BTV. Why? What is Dent's role? He seems like he's in charge of all of Novacom in Odyssey,
And is also
and yet
everywhere.
he must just be the worst micromanager.
Yeah.
Everyone hates him. They're just like, oh, this dude's just showing up constantly.
Well, he might be just I could see him being there just trying to show Bernard the ropes as far as what that
Sure,
looks like.
but he's running the meeting.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, fine.
He's the worst. He's worst micromanager.
Yeah, and he's kind of nice about it too, in the worst way. The more I listen to the series, the more I really enjoy Arthur Dent as a character, though.
Yeah, he's well performed.
Really, really well performed. Really,
Although, I don't know. I can't quite get why he keeps mispronouncing Bernard's name.
Yeah, because
it's that thing that they do to make oh, this guy's a jerk. But Dent's so timid.
Yeah.
That he doesn't really seem like he's doing it as a jerk, but also Bernard corrects him every time.
Yeah.
So
they're really trying to hammer home this.
He's either the most oblivious person ever, or he's just poorly directed, where he was supposed to be saying it like a jerk and he's not. I don't know.
Yeah. He doesn't sound like he's. I think the point is that they're trying to distance him, make him seem more of the corporate figurehead.
Yeah, they do. I don't know. They do so much where I'm
Troping
they're
it.
trying. Well, where I feel like they're trying to be kind of even-handed about him and not be oh, he's clearly a villain, and then they're also constantly but Novacom's evil.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's that. Bernard quits. I don't know why he signed on so fast in the first place.
And why he jumped ship so quickly. And it's again, the whole logistical premise of this episode.
Yeah, it is bad. The thing that is actually interesting is when he's talking to Whit early, and Whit's I don't really approve of their other programming, and he's right, but this could be the one light thing.
Doesn't that
in
seem
the dark.
the best thing?
And I was Bernard, you've just got promoted. You're Whit now.
Yeah, you're right.
You said the correct response. It's so good.
Yeah.
That is 100% how everyone should be taking this.
Yeah, and then Whit's still super pessimistic
right.
about it. He's like,
yeah, and I'm no, what? Bernard needs to call you out more, Whit, because he just made an excellent point.
And you
do
continue
try,
to just straight up grumble.
Right, you continue to just grumble and shut these people out where you should be coming alongside of them. Because if you don't have a relationship, they're never going to listen to you. You're not going to gain anything by being purely adversarial to them.
Yep.
And that's all you've done.
Yep.
And I don't know what your end game is.
Well, and that's what I find the most frustrating is how he's still portrayed by Focus on the Family in the good light. And then you obviously, so he comes back after Bernard quits. He goes back, meets with Whit, and Whit has bought his squeegee equipment, his window washing equipment that he had sold when he got the job, because he's a smart businessman.
Let me just hit on something there. As a kid, never thought twice about this. As an adult, Bernard's full-time job is that he washes windows in the small town of Odyssey.
Yes.
And he apparently has competition because he asked Whit, did you find someone else to wash your windows? It's
the cut rate.
Are these windows that who has all these windows that need washed? Is window
he does make a joke about a diner getting an addition that's all glass.
Yeah, I didn't even get that was a window washing joke, but you're totally right.
Yeah,
this is the best time I have had since whatever diner I put in all glass expansion. That was okay.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, I don't
understand it.
I don't understand
it's a cutthroat game. Window washing.
How this economy works because. Every place I've ever worked that's had a window, you just wash it yourselves maybe once a week.
Yep. Yeah, and if it's a
quick
big
and easy and the only place I've seen actual window washers are skyscrapers, and this is Odyssey.
Not a skyscraper. Not even, yeah. And, like, even if he washes almost every, like, professional storefront in town,
How many professional storefronts is that?
not enough to make a living, because it would have to be cheap enough for them to justify not doing it themselves. Because if we know anything about people in Odyssey, it's that they're frugal.
Fixing my car myself.
Yeah.
Why do I take to the mechanic? Connie, I don't have any money. Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
Poor. Got him, but don't get help from other people, because then they'll know you're weak. Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
Yep, so he gets his squeegee equipment back that he bought from Edwin Blackard, the good Blackard. And
Good
he's just
ish.
sitting there smugly just like, well, I figured you might need it.
He says, quote, I'm not the type to... Bernard says, like, you can go ahead and say I told you so. It's like, I'm not the type to say I told you so. And it's like,
But you are.
right. You're the type to say I told you so, but not actually come out and say it. Which is worse.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get Mr.
He's so
Whitaker. He
frustrating.
had better get better, because I am
I think he-
genuinely ticked off.
I think he does, once there's some very real conflict and, like, it becomes much more of a personal thing as opposed to him just being, like,
He was just-
grumpy, crazy old man.
Right, he was Mr. Whitaker in my mind is like Mr. Rogers. Like,
Yeah.
he's this super idealistic, like, always does the good thing, super kind to everyone. And in
Yep.
this story arc, we've seen him just be a jerk.
Yep.
And it's driving me up a wall.
Because you didn't notice that. Like, how did I never think that, like,
Yeah.
that's not normal? And
Well,
you should not respond that way. And,
because
like,
we're-
what do you believe in that makes you think that you can do that?
Yeah, and I think it's just because we're supposed to see him as kind of the voice of God, as this perfect guy, and so we're missing it, like, now with him not being that.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts a little bit.
It is.
I need you
yeah.
to... You've broken my trust, Whit. I need you to I need you to earn it back. Please and thank you. But I think he does. Like, if I'm remembering correctly for later in the series, I
Well,
feel like
yeah,
he does
and we'll
pretty
cross it when we get to it. And we're not, like, if there's one thing about this podcast is our opinions are going to change.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
yeah.
Because we've listened through it multiple times, but, like,
It's been a hot second.
Yeah, it's been at least 2 years since I've listened to it.
Longer for me, but yeah.
Yeah, and we're only listening through it, like, one episode at a time before
Right.
we record the podcast,
Yep,
so...
listen through it week to week, so yeah.
It'll change. It'll change. I mean, but, like, overall, I really enjoyed this episode because Bernard Walton is a delightful character, and his jokes are, for some reason, really funny to me.
Yeah.
And he just says kind of crazy things, and there's the whole bit where he sharpens pencils, and then he tries to sharpen something that I assume is a mechanical pencil?
Or maybe a pen? I don't know.
Yeah, he, kind of blows something up.
Yep, Sharpener blows up. Oh, we didn't mention the whole Aram thing. So Aram pops up on Bernard's computer.
This is as he's leaving
Right.
Novacom after he quits, but before he goes back to Wit.
Right. We hear the Aram sound, and he just kind of is like, instant message from Aram. Whatever.
I was like,
works
push
out.
button to accept, and he's like, what button do I push to go home? Like, me too,
That's
my guy.
right.
Me too.
That's right. You can leave anytime, Andrew. I'm not holding you hostage.
I don't have any buttons
Or
to push.
am I?
Dun, dun, dun.
But
We need to put that ominous music from the trailer behind
yeah,
that.
seriously.
It's so... Oh, it was a
But-
dark and stormy night.
But once again, I don't know what Aram's strategy is. Did
It
he
doesn't.
know that Bernard had been fired and thought, well, maybe, like, this guy's gonna want information? Because this is like, Bernard was not seeking any sort of information.
Yeah, he was literally... Was he even on the computer?
No.
I was gonna say, like, I imagine him
Like, I
walking
don't,
past
yeah,
it.
I can't figure out what, because I want a mini series where we just have, like,
Aram's perspective, yeah.
Aram's, no, just like a sound popping up on, like, some random person's computer and then, like, starting up and being like, oh, what? No.
What is this?
Like, I don't, yeah.
Do you want to know about the radio wave study? No!
Yeah, I don't quite get what his strategy
I'm
is.
in
but it's-
Connellsville. None of this is relevant.
I don't get his strategy, but I do like him.
Yeah.
We've gotten him every episode of the Novacom saga so far.
Yep, and then... yeah,
Oh
the
wait,
same
no,
soundbite.
we didn't. We didn't get him the first one. I keep forgetting about the Tom Riley episode that basically it's
No,
just
are you sure he's not in that?
positive.
Oh yeah, because remember, I
Yeah,
remember.
because it's just about the tower. Because he's more or less just around when Calyx are at this point.
Yep, I love it. I love that name so much. I
yeah,
need to add
I
that
don't
to
know.
the vocabulary.
I might be a little less into this episode than you are.
This one?
Yeah, which
Well,
is fine.
no,
like,
yeah.
I've never
I only listened to it once.
Yeah, same. I've never loved Bernard's shtick.
And I always have.
Yeah. So it's a difference in personality. And then the most of it just felt like inconsequential. Like, I get the point of this episode is, hey, Novacom is tied to the radio wave study, and Aram's involved with Novacom.
Yep.
And I guess Novacom hates Christianity.
Yep.
And that's basically it.
Yeah, well, and the moral being like, well, don't let other people tell you how to preach what you believe. Like don't, stick to your morals despite adversity. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, the moral's a little bit out there.
It's kind of all over the place.
Once again, this like we gotta do plots, so the moral's gonna take a back seat, which is fine.
Yeah, which is totally.
I'm happy with it because honestly, I probably
except for the plot wasn't even that great.
Well, right, except for that the plot wasn't that great, and it was so. This episode finished, and I was like, "Wow, that was a short episode."
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Because so little happens. Like my notes were long, but nothing I've said was like of significance. Very few things I was like, I have a hard opinion on that because it is so just kind of straightforward.
Yeah, it's
dumb.
A couple points. Yeah, it's kind of like the first episode with the tower. It's just like, so this is a thing that happens.
Yeah, but even the tower one like had some other stuff going on with it.
And also it was the first.
Right.
So there was nothing, there's
Yeah.
nothing established beforehand, whereas this is just kind of like, the last episode was really good, and we're moving, and we're not moving? Like,
Yeah, and it also, like, Wit's there for a bit. It's kind of Bernard's episode, and then we get Dent again and Cowix, but that's it.
Yeah.
It is
there's
like
no Connie,
it feels
there's no
like
nothing.
Right. It feels like one of the like smallest Adventures in Odyssey episodes because I'm just like, there's not.
Yeah,
much
the universe
involvement.
feels super small.
Yeah. There is no Connie, but there is Katie
voice
Lee, voicing the
one of the writers, the writer that is allergic to lactose.
Oh, you're right.
Puts a bowl of yogurt.
It is the yogurt. For whatever reason, I was thinking she was the woman who takes them away, but no, who takes.
She might be that too.
But no, she.
But I know
definitely,
distinctly that.
She is definitely the writer.
Yeah,
along with Bob Luttrell doing a Looney Tunes character.
Yeah. I don't know, an anti-smoking ad. That voice is a level of gravelly that is like just genuinely concerning.
The voice is the voice from a comedy TV show, not from an episode of Adventures in Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's like, it would be a voice that would make sense in like a BTV sketch.
Yeah, voicing, I don't know, a particularly greedy Jewish man.
Wow.
I don't know, I wasn't good for meaning that. I'm talking like Jesus times, like maybe a really unhappy Pharisee. Or one of the Daniels, one of the people under King Darius. You know, the story of Daniel.
All right.
There's no anti-Semitism here! Please! Wad Fam Chalk Pod, not anti-Semitic. Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
I can't make that the opener. That would be horrible. Episode 3 of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Greedy Jews.
I said Jewish man.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, well, this might sound kinda. No, well.
And then I called you on it. Yeah. So this is. Yeah, I feel like our discussion was pretty short on this, but I just don't have a lot to say.
I don't have a lot to say either.
That's fine. I don't think I should artificially inflate episodes.
Nope, I don't think we need to. I enjoyed it. I'm excited to keep listening because it's not this episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to not talk about this episode. I'm excited to jump into the next album. And get into some more interesting stuff that's not unnecessary setup. But I might keep doing the little teaser thing at the beginning.
I think it's funny. I appreciate
that
it.
Teaser was pretty good.
And feedback is always appreciated. Plug it on the socials.
Yep, we are at WadFam Chalkpod places and
all places.
Just Instagram and Twitter. And then
we need to make a WadFam Chalkpod Spotify account that only plays Christian music and only plays 90s like Chris Tomlin.
No, I'm not doing that. That's no.
Maybe I will.
Yourself, Andrew.
Maybe I will. This is a bit that I care too much about.
Yeah. And then wadfamtrackpod@gmail.com to get in contact with us. And we haven't done this, but we're 3 episodes in. Anything you want to plug of your own, Andrew?
Well, I mean, the Andrew Sabo podcast is what I do. Sometimes I make it with my friends. I just put up an episode. We're on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, CastBox, plenty of places. Just the Andrew Sabo podcast because I've got name recognition.
That's the joke I made when I was on.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's just like I didn't want to make a name that would limit me to a category or anything like that. Because the only thing that I can guarantee that will transfer from episode to episode is that I will be recording it.
Man, I need to host an episode without you.
You should. You should. If we make it to 20 episodes, you can host one without me.
When the episode I was on, I'm not a confident and assertive enough person to pull this off, but I wanted to just run that episode and be really funny about it.
You should.
I was like, man, I wanna like kick off that episode with like, hi and welcome to the Andrew Sabo podcast. I'm your host Dylan. Joining me is Andrew Sabo. Like just completely.
Yeah, just oh man, just body me.
Yeah.
Just
be like, and I'm running the structure. Yeah. I've got a surprise question for you. But I didn't do that.
Yeah, I think that's about it. A link to it would be in my Instagram bio. Thanks, Dylan, for showing me how to do that.
Anytime, man.
And yeah, I've just put up an episode with my buddy Nathan, who you would recognize from the intro of the first episode. And
friend of the show, Nathan Haverstick.
What a delightful human. Talking about music and stuff. Super fun.
Yeah. And then if you're interested in other stuff I do, follow at Redbox Reviews on Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr. It's the same content everywhere, but I don't know. You people like different stuff. Yeah. Basically, it's just the reviews on the Redbox website are horrible. They're just the worst. And so I pick out ones that I think are particularly ridiculous, and I repost them. It's a pretty simple premise, but I have a lot of fun with it, and I don't know. It does not get the love it deserves. So
I follow it, right?
I don't know.
I feel like I do.
If you don't,
go
do it. And that goes for you too, listeners. So yeah.
I see you.
So it's a podcast, Andrew.
That's the podcast.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Cooperative. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 3, Nova Rising, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the WadFam Chalk Pod.